7.6 Vertex form of a quadratic. Past few days or week or whatever, we've been working on quadratics. We've always looked at standard form. So if you guys just want a quick reminder, right, standard form is what we have been using. And standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. What we're focusing on today is vertex form, and vertex form is set up like this. They have the a on the outside. They've got x minus h squared plus k, and we'll talk about what h and k are here in a minute. Before we kind of look at this, I just kind of want to demo what's going on here. So you guys have this paper in front of you, and it talks about how, or it asks you to graph the following two equations. And you're supposed to, get your calculator out and get a table and sketch them on there or whatever. I'm just going to do that over here really quickly. So if you'll take a look at my y equals, I already have typed in these two equations, right? I've got the first one here and I've got the second one here, and I just typed them in there exactly how they look on your paper. Watch what happens when I graph these two equations. And it may be helpful to notice that this top equation is going to be blue, right? And this bottom equation is going to be red. So when I actually graph these things, is it not going to do it again? Let's see. It's going to make me type them again, maybe. Let me type in a 1 here, see if it works. All right, I just got to retype them in here. Take me 2 seconds. All right, so we got negative x squared minus 4x plus 5. And then my next equation here, we've got negative parentheses x plus 2. The square is on the outside right there, and then we've got a plus 9 on the outside. All right, so notice when I graph these, what happens. Here's my blue graph. Here's my red graph, right? They are identical to each other. They produce the exact same parabola. So the point of showing you guys this is really just to reinforce that these two equations that we've got here are the same, but they're written in different forms. All right, so we're going to run through our notes here, and you guys just pay attention to how these are set up, and you should be fine. All right, so the main idea is that we have this h and k within our formula. We have h right in here with x, and that's part of our vertex. And then you have k out here on the end, and again, that's part of our vertex, right? This is called vertex form because these two terms in there are the vertex. The vertex is the point h and k. Let's just kind of look and see what this is. Ready? So I'm going to work with this first example, and I'm going to label a and h and k. A is the number in front of the parentheses, right? We see that here in the formula. So a is negative 3. H is actually negative 4. Now think about that for a second. We're looking at plus 4 in the parentheses, but I'm telling you h is negative 4. Why is that? All right, we've seen this thing happen before, and it's whenever we have a negative in our formula, right? It's telling us that the x minus is part of our formula, which means we change the sign for h. Okay, guys? So if you want to make a little note, right, change the sign for h. K should be fine, though, because K's got a plus sign in the formula, so K is just negative 7. All right? The one thing you may have to remember here is, again, watch out for negatives in the formula. Got to change that sign of h. All right, so my vertex, my minimum, and my maximum. We're supposed to answer all these questions here. Well, my vertex are these points right here, right? H and K, that's what vertex form is. So my vertex is at negative 4, negative 7. Do I have a minimum or a maximum? Well, I think it would be helpful anytime we're asked a question about a quadratic to just graph it really quick so we can see what's going on. All right, so I'm going to type this in here. I've got negative 3, parentheses, x plus 4 to the power of 2, and then on the end I've got this minus 7. So let's take a look at my graph. First, y'all notice that my vertex is at negative 4, negative 7, just like we predicted. All right, it looks like I have a maximum in this case, and I hope you guys start to notice that anytime A is negative, it produces that frown-shaped graph, right? That ground that's opening downward, which creates a maximum point. My axis of symmetry is x equals -4. Okay, again, look at it from the graph, right? It's this x value right here that would go through the vertex, but hopefully remember it's just always the same as the x coordinate of the vertex. My domain is all real numbers, because this is not a specific situation, right? My domain is just going left and right forever. My range looks like it starts here at -7 and goes down. So I'm going to say all the y's are less than or equal to -7. All right, let's do another example. Here we go. And the next one, A is 3/2. H is +1, right? Because we see a -1 in the formula. That's the one we have to switch. K is 5. So my vertex are the point HK, so 1, 5. Now, do I have a minimum or a maximum? Well, I hope you guys know, because this is positive, it's going to be a smiley face graph, a graph opening upward, which is going to create a minimum. We can type this in here really quickly. In the front, I've got 3/2. And then I've got my parentheses, and inside I've got x minus 1. And on the end, I've got +5. All right, let's take a look. All right, we see my vertex here at 1, 5, and it is got a lowest point, so that's a minimum. My axis of symmetry is x equals 1. All right here, x equals 1. Even though it's not drawn, we know it's there. My domain is all real numbers, and my range, let's talk about my range. Looks like my y values start here where y is 5 and go up, which means all the y's are greater than or equal to 5. Okay, so the next two, we've actually got the parabolas graphed. All I need for us to figure out really is h and k, so we can write it in vertex form. All right, so let's just recap. Here, you are given the equation, and now you're given a graph, and we're going to come up with the equation. So, what is h and what is k? Now, you don't change the sign right now, like we did in the first two examples, because I'm actually looking at the vertex. The vertex right here is 4, -1. So h is 4 and k is -1. You only change the sign if you're figuring out h from the formula. Okay, my vertex then we just said was 4, -1. I've got a minimum, right? I've got a lowest point here. And then my axis of symmetry is x equals 4, right? Even though it's not drawn, we know it's there. My equation then, because they gave us a, on Tuesday we'll learn how to figure out a by ourselves, but for right now I'm just going to tell you what it is. It goes in front of the parentheses. We got x minus squared. So now I got to figure out what is h and what is k, right? What do I put in there? Well, let's just put them in there. So we got x minus, and then h is 4, so I just put a 4 right here, plus k is -1, so plus -1. And now we do kind of know, hopefully, that I can just write -1 instead of plus -1. So this is my equation. Again, you might notice here it looks like it's -4 when we actually knew the h value was 4. So again, those look opposite. The formula looks opposite. My domain is all real numbers. My range, my y values, start at -1 and go up. So all the y's are greater than or equal to -1. Okay, last example. Here we go. Take a look at my graph. Since we're writing in vertex form, we need to identify the vertex. So that's -2, and then how high up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So -2, 9 is my vertex, which means h is -2 and k is 9, right? -2, 9. I have a maximum this time, right? I've got a highest point. That's a maximum point. Makes sense, right? Because we got that -a value making it go down. My axis of symmetry is x equals -2, just like always, matches my h value. Okay. My equation then is y equals, a goes in the front, so -1. I got x minus something plus something, right? We got to put h here and k here. All right, so h is -2, so I'm going to write -2. Now we don't leave this minus negative right here. Right? A minus a negative turns into a plus, and on the end we got +9. Notice again for the last time, We look at a plus 2 in the equation, but our h value was -2, right? That's supposed to happen. Your equation will have the opposite sign because of the formula. My domain is all real numbers, and my range, let's see here, the highest point is 9 and everything else goes down. So we're going to say all the y values are less than or equal to 9. Okay, if I could give you a one sentence summary of this video, it would be to have your formula card ready. This is on your formula card. All right, and to watch out for h. You got to change the sign of h if you're looking at it in an equation.